Dear friends, welcome back to English Story World Slow English Learning Videos. In today's short and interesting video, you will improve your English vocabulary, reading, writing, spelling, and listening skills in a very simple and easy way. This video is made in slow and clear English so that you can understand every word easily. You can listen carefully or even play it during your sleeping time to improve your listening skills naturally. If you want to listen faster, you can increase the playback speed in the video settings. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to English Story World for more helpful English learning videos. So, are you ready? Let's begin today's lesson.
When the street light stayed on. In a quiet town near a long highway, there was a small street that most people ignored. Cars passed it every day, but very few stopped there. The houses were old, the paint was faded, and the street light at the corner flickered every night. That street light had been broken for years, yet somehow, it always stayed on. On that street lived a boy named Ethan. Ethan was 16 years old. He was not famous, not rich, and not special in the way people usually noticed. He went to school, came back home, helped his mother, and spent most of his evenings sitting near the window, watching the street light glow. People at school barely noticed him. Teachers knew his name but never remembered his answers. Classmates walked past him as if he was part of the wall. When group projects were announced, Ethan was always the last choice. Not because he was rude. Not because he was lazy. But because he was quiet. Very quiet. Ethan used to talk a lot when he was younger. He used to ask questions, tell stories, and laugh loudly. But over time, life taught him something painful. When you speak and no one listens, silence feels safer. So he learned to stay quiet. Every morning, Ethan woke up before sunrise. He packed his bag, checked his phone, no new messages, and walked to school. On the way, he passed the same street light. It was still on, even though the sun was rising. He always wondered why. At school, the hallways were loud. Friends laughed, groups talked, and plans were made. Ethan walked alone. He sat near the window in class. Outside, he could see the road, the sky, and sometimes birds flying freely. He liked the birds. They don't need permission to move, he thought. One afternoon, the teacher returned exam papers. Ethan's hands felt cold when he saw the red marks on his paper. Not the worst score, but not good enough either. The teacher sighed. "You can do better," she said, already turning away. That sentence followed Ethan all the way home. You can do better. But no one ever told him how. At home, his mother smiled tiredly. She worked long hours at a nearby factory. His father had passed away years ago, and since then, silence had lived in their house too. How was school? His mother asked. Fine, Ethan replied. It was always fine. That evening, Ethan sat near the window again. The street light outside flickered softly. A car slowed down, then drove away. Ethan whispered, "Why do you stay on?" The street light did not answer. Days passed. Weeks passed. Life stayed the same. Until one evening, something changed. It was raining lightly. The sky was grey, and the road looked shiny. Ethan noticed a girl standing under the street light. She was holding a small bag and looking around as if she was lost. Ethan hesitated. He was not used to talking to strangers. But something about her worried him. He put on his jacket and stepped outside. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. The girl looked up, surprised. She was around his age, maybe a year older. "Yes. I think so," she said. "I'm waiting for the bus, but it's late." Ethan looked down the road. The bus stop sign was broken and barely visible. "It comes late sometimes," he said. "You can wait here. The light stays on." She smiled slightly. "That's good. I don't like dark places." They stood there quietly, rain falling between them. After a moment, she said, "My name is Lena." "Ethan," he replied. Another silence. But this one felt different. Comfortable. "I've never seen you before," Lena said. "I live here," Ethan replied. "People don't notice much." She looked at him carefully. "I notice." That simple sentence hit him harder than any exam result. The bus arrived, and Lena waved goodbye. "See you around, Ethan." As she left, the street light flickered, but stayed on. The next day at school, Ethan saw Lena in the hallway. She smiled and waved. Just like that, something small changed. They started talking sometimes. About school. About music. About dreams they never said out loud to others. Lena was not loud either. She had moved to town recently. She felt lost, just like Ethan. "I feel like everyone else has a map," she said one day. "And I don't." Ethan nodded. "I feel like I'm invisible." She shook her head. "You're not. You're just standing where people forget to look." Those words stayed with him. One evening, they sat near the street light again. Cars passed. Rain had stopped. "Why do you like this place?" Lena asked. Ethan thought for a moment. "Because the light stays on," he said. "Even when it shouldn't." Lena smiled. "Maybe it's waiting for someone." Time moved forward. Ethan still struggled at school. Still felt ignored sometimes. But now, there were moments of laughter. Moments of being seen. One day, the school announced a talent program. Students could share skills, music, art, speaking, anything. Ethan felt his stomach twist. Lena looked at him. "You should join." He laughed nervously. "I don't have any talent." She shook her head. "You listen. That's rare." He didn't understand. "You notice things," she continued. "You understand people. You could tell stories." Ethan had never thought of that as a skill. That night, he sat by the window, staring at the street light. His notebook lay open in front of him. Slowly, he began to write. Not perfect sentences. Not big words. Just thoughts. About silence. About being unseen. About street lights that stay on. Days later, he signed up. On the day of the program, his hands shook. The hall was full. Voices echoed. Ethan stood on the stage, heart racing. He looked into the crowd. He felt small. Then he remembered the street light. He took a deep breath. And he spoke. He told a simple story. About a boy who felt invisible. About a light that stayed on. About waiting and noticing and choosing not to turn off. The room went quiet. For the first time, silence listened to him. When he finished, there was a pause. Then applause. Not loud at first, but real. After that day, things did not magically become perfect. Ethan still failed sometimes. Still doubted himself. Still felt afraid. But now he knew something important. Being quiet did not mean being weak. Being unseen did not mean being unimportant. One evening, months later, Ethan and Lena stood under the street light again. The city planned to replace it soon. Do you think they'll fix it? Lena asked. Ethan smiled. Maybe. Or maybe it's already done its job. They looked up as the light flickered softly. In that moment, Ethan understood something clearly. Some lights don't shine to be noticed. They shine so others don't feel alone. And somewhere inside him, a light stayed on too.